لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Last night's class we were speaking on the 7 conditions of a tawaf according to the author Sheikh Salih Sadlan, Allah reward him well on our behalf. And we said that the first of those was niyyah, second was tahara, third was satur al-awra, the fourth was for it to be inside of the masjid, the fifth was the Kaaba to be on one's left, the sixth being 7 times, and the 7th being each turn being done one after another. Now we've reached as well what we mentioned last night was the sunan al-tawaf, recommended acts of tawaf. Number 1 being ramal. We explained what ramal was. The quick stepping, quick jogging, uncovering the right shoulder, kissing the black stone, making a specific dua that the author mentioned, and making dua whilst one is making the tawaf. The 6th recommended act of tawaf, the author says, الدعاء بالملتزم عند الطواف من الفراغ والملتزم هو المكان الذي بين البيت والحجر الأسود. 7 صلاة ركعتين بعد الفراغ من الطواف خلف مقام إبراهيم يقرأ فيهما بسورة الكافرون والإخلاص بعد الفاتحة. 8 الشرب من ماء زمزم والتضلع من بعد الفراغ من صلاة الركعتين. 9 الرجوع لاستلام الحجر الأسود قبل الخروج إلى السعي أو إلى المسعى. طيب. Read the translation inshallah please. Volunteer. ممكن أنت تقرأ عربي. خلي غيرك. بسم الله. بسم الله. اقرأ.
Number 6, making supplication that al-multazam after finishing the circumambulation.
ملتزم.
Multazam is a place between the door and the Kaaba and the black stone.
بسم الله.
Making supplications at al-multazam after making circumambulation. Al-multazam is a place between the door and the Kaaba and the black stone. Number 7, after finishing the circuits, one should pray 2 rakats behind the station of Ibrahim, reciting surahs al-Kafirun, al-Ikhlas, and surah al-Fatiha. Number 8, drink some water from the well of Zamzam, and in fact, one should drink one's fill of it after finishing the 2 rakats. Number 9, one should return to the black stone and touch it before moving on to the sa'i.
طيب. The author says number 6. The 6th thing that he calls and considers recommended. Not obligatory, not an essential, but something that's recommended. In other words, something that's going to add gleam and gloss to your Hajj, to your Umrah. Something that's going to be a means of you perfecting and finishing, putting the finishing final touches on it. A very important concept. The more you know about the ibadah, the essentials of the ibadah, the pillars of the ibadah, the recommended acts of the ibadah, the more perfect ibadah bi'idhnillahi ta'ala you can offer to Allah. Having fiqh fi deen, knowing that which is wajib and that which isn't wajib. When there's not enough time, not enough water, it's too crowded, you're sick, you're tired, you're weak, knowing what you don't have to do. Fiqh is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a beautiful gift. And it can make your life so much better, so much easier, so much more perfect bi'idhnillahi ta'ala as a servant, let alone the lives of others. Let alone the lives of what? Of others. And that's why it states in the narration, which is not authentic. Hadith is very weak, but it's a well-known narration that many of the ulama of the past had mentioned, such as Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah, they would say فَقِيهٌ وَاحِدٌ أَشَدُّ عَلَى الشَّيْطَانِ مِنْ أَلْفِ عَابِدٍ. They say one faqih, one learned man is a bigger problem for Satan than 1,000 worshippers. Sheikh? One man that's sharp, one sharp blade is better than what? 1,000 dull blades, rusty blades. Everybody understand this? One good sword is better than 1,000 butter knives. Everybody understand this? Blunt and dull. Everybody understand this? One faqih is more of a problem to shaitan than what? 1,000 monks that just worship Allah without the proper knowledge. So just stop and think about this now. Think about Hajj. How many Hajj leaders are there? How many fuqaha and ulama are in a tent? It's normally just what? Especially come from America, in most cases just one. Yet still this one person, Allah allows him to guide how many people? How many people ask him questions? How many people follow him? How many people forget or they lose their books? So I lost my shoe. I have on Crocs. I left my Croc at Muzdalif. I don't know what to do. I have to go back. I didn't sleep. The bus was late. My wife had to sit down. And he gives the fatwa, la bas. Inshallah. Kada, da, go back. Fix it. The people in his own group, let alone the people that are not in his group. But because he knows the Arabic language so well, he doesn't have a nationality, a race, or a color anymore. He doesn't have a nationality, a race, or a color anymore. He's no longer American or British or Canadian. He's now a faqih of Hajj. So the people that see him answering one question, then what? Another guy comes. And this one comes. Lo samahti ya sheikh, fulan, just like that. And Allah Azza wa Jalla will allow this person to guide a ummah of Hajjis. Because he has what? Fiqh. Rather you have a whole tent, 50, 100, 150, 300 people who are just making Hajj with no guidance, no knowledge. What they thought, what they read in some bogus, baseless book, what their ancestors did. Can't do anything for anybody, except for mislead them even further. Everybody understand this? If you want to see the importance of knowledge in general, and the importance of fiqh fi deen specifically, go make umrah or hajj. And you'll see it manifest. The jahl is always there, but it can hide its ugly head sometimes in the masjid, sometime in the salah, sometime in Ramadan. But hajj, it must rear its ugly head. It's going to become prevalent and obvious because there's a lot going on during hajj. And everybody is out of their comfort zone. In your comfort zone when you're in the masjid. Take someone out of their comfort zone, out of the environment that they're used to and accustomed to, everything becomes transparent. So one faqih being worse, a bigger problem against shaitan than 1,000 worshippers. Everybody understand this? Knowing what to do, what not to do, and knowing how to perfect your ibadah. And if you have the ability to offer Allah Azza wa Jal a more complete and perfect ibadah, why not? What? Why not? Everybody understand this? So he says the sixth recommended act is to make dua, not at the Black Stone, not at the Yemeni corner, but a place called Al-Multazam. Al-Multazam. And he says that the Multazam is the place between Babul Bayt, the door of the Kaaba, and the Black Stone. A thing called what? Al-Multazam. You ever seen it before? You may see somebody touching it, holding on to that part of the wall of the Kaaba now. Which is a place called what? Al-Multazam. The author says it's recommended to make dua at this place if you can. And if it's too crowded, or you're exhausted, or you just say, I just don't want to do it, then there's no sin what? In that. But if you do have the ability to do it, and take a little extra exhaustion, la bas. Or if the condition is you don't hurt anyone, no one hurts you, you don't injure anyone, you don't injure one, you don't go through a hardship. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear this or not? Khairan inshaAllah ta'ala. He then says, number 7, is to offer 2 units of prayer. 2 units of prayer after one finishes the tawaf. Not before, not after, not in the middle, but he says what? After. And the place in which you should pray is the Maqam Ibrahim, the station of Abraham. And the same rule applies to this recommended act as well if you have the ability. If you have the ability. It may be too crowded. You may not have a chance to pray behind Maqam Ibrahim. Pray wherever you can. Everybody understand this? Because it's going to be what? Very crowded. Everybody clear on this? He says here, in these 2 rak'ah, you should recite 2 surahs. After the Fatiha, of course. First being Al-Kafirun, and the second being Al-Ikhlas. As Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, from the wisdoms behind this, is that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was supposedly, he's the one who was the what? The forefather, the main forefather, or one of the main forefathers of Tawheed. Obviously, the prophets and messengers who came before him as well called to Tawheed. But Ibrahim was the one who established it. Everybody understand this? In the way in which he did. So it's only befitting that you recite surahs in his station that suit his message and his legacy, which was Tawheed. And to reject and do away with shirk, polytheism, and all of its forms and fashions and images. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. I don't worship what you worship. Yani, along with Allah. I do not worship that which you worship, meaning what? Along with Allah. And it does not mean that I don't worship Allah, because the mushrikun obviously worshipped Allah. But their problem was partners with Allah. We are not going to make it what? Exclusive. Oftentimes we get misguided or misinformed when it comes to the meaning of shirk and tawheed. The people of the Prophet ﷺ in general, there were some of them وَهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ بِالرَّحْمَنِ, but in general they believed in Allah and they loved Allah and they worshipped Allah. Everybody understand this? They loved Allah. They worshipped Him and they knew who He was. Everybody clear on this? Their main problem was what? Associating partners. Everybody clear on this? Was associating partners. And not necessarily the absolute rejection of Allah, or the absolute lack of knowledge of who Allah was or what Allah was and who He was and who He was and what He wasn't. There were other issues, the rejection of resurrection. There were other issues with regards to some of the asma of Allah, with regards to some of the aqa'id, some of the messed up points of their creed, the angels or the daughters of Allah, things like this. But in general, they knew who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, and they loved Him and they worshipped Him, but they refused to give up the partners. Everybody understand this? Let's make an example of this. A man who cheats on his wife with several women. His wife, how could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. How could you hurt me like this? He says, it's not an issue of me, what? Not loving you. I do love you, but I have a problem with what? I love others, or I lust for other women. But me rejecting you as my wife, I only have one wife. I have different lovers, girlfriends, but only have one what? One wife. I love you the most. When things go bad and go wrong, I don't go to them. I don't call them. I don't visit them. I go what? To you. I cry over your shoulder. I put my head on your lap. I ask for guidance. I tell you my personal secrets. When things go what? Rough. When I need help. When no one else I can trust. But when I'm in a good mood and things are going smooth, it's no problem. I call up this one. I call up that one. I go over here and I'm good here. Everybody understand this? But me rejecting you as my wife, that's not an issue of what? Discussion or debate. Me rejecting or you saying that I don't love you, that's not a what? That's not an issue. My problem is what? My issue of infidelity is dealing with what? Partners. Other partners. Everybody understand this? And not that you don't love me or you don't know who I am. Everybody clear on this? And this is why you find some women, they'll accept this relationship or these relationships. They'll say he can cheat on her or he can sleep whatever he wants to sleep with. As long as he knows what? I'm wifey. That's it. Those other women are insignificant. They come and they go. This is a reality in life. This is not a joke. This is real. Some of them, they'll accept a harsh reality. My husband staying away from cheating? No way. There's no way he's going to be chaste. He's going to cheat. He has to travel. I'm this. We have fights. We argue, so on and so forth. He's going to cheat. But as long as what? He knows he only has one queen. And don't bring it in my face to my knowledge. I'll turn the other blind cheek. Everybody understand this? So the concept of rejection is one thing. Not knowing is one thing. Not loving is what? One thing. The concept of knowing, avowing, and acknowledging, but having what? Partners that the man declares and acknowledges are what? Deficient. They're insignificant to her. I go to them for certain times and certain needs. But I know who's best, who's most loyal, who's chaste, who's clean, who's there from day one, who gave my children. Everybody understand this? But the partners are on the what? On the side, and it's something that I can't give up. This is the example of the shirk of Quraysh. They knew Allah, they loved Allah. When they were about to become shipwrecked, they would go back to what? Da'u Allah mukhlisina lahu ad-din. Allah says, and when we give them safety, when we deliver them to the shore, Allah says, idahum, He says, behold, they do what? They make shirk, because everything is okay now. So many people, scholars, madhabs, groups, they have this concept that shirk is rejection of Allah, 100%. Shirk and rububiyyah. They believe that Allah is the only creator. Or shirk means that you don't acknowledge that Allah is everything in existence. La mawjuda illallah. That's not the aqidah of the Quran. If you read the Quran and you studied it with an open mind and an empty cup, you will clearly see that Allah would challenge them and contest them with that which they acknowledged. Who created the heavens and the earth? Who sends down? A'ilahum ma'allah. A'ilahum ma'allah. Huh? Amman ja'ala. Who made the rivers like this, the mountains like that? Allah has to ask these questions to people who what? And know the answer. So if you believe in Allah being the only one who gave you this, made this, sent down that, how stupid can you be to take a what? A inferior partner with Him that you yourself acknowledge is inferior. And the proof of that is that when you're at sea and the seas become rough, you do what? Alone. The only one that can help us. So this is the whole concept of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah being mentioned in the Quran. Not for the people to affirm it, but to put them in a situation in which they must affirm what? Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah. Everybody clear on this? It's crucial, important for the layman to understand with regards to your conceptualization of Tawheed. Khairan, inshallah. So therefore, the concept of Tawheed being the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, it's only befitting that these surahs be recited in his station. Al-Ikhlas and Al-Kafirun, which give you the pure, pristine what? Creed of Tawheed. Asma wa Sifat and Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah. Everybody clear on this? Khairan, inshallah ta'ala. The author, he then says, and the same applies with regards to it being crowded. If it's too crowded, or let's say someone makes tawaf, they finish the tawaf and they break their wudu, according to the author, before you go make sa'i, you have to go make wudu, whatever the case may be. I don't have wudu to pray behind Maqam Ibrahim. Or it's too crowded, or I'm very tired, I'm sick. Everybody understand this? So I cut my foot, a wheelchair ran over my toe. My toenail was missing, I'm bleeding. So I want to wrap that up really quick before I go make sa'i. You do not have to make these what? 2 rak'ah. Or if it's too crowded behind the station of Ibrahim, make them in any what? Any place that you can. Khairan, inshallah. Moving forward. The author then says, number 8 is to drink from Zamzam. To drink from the Zamzam well. He says, and not only to drink from, he says, what tadallu' is to become swollen. To drink it in gulps. Fill your belly with the what? With the Zamzam water. That's recommended. And obviously one may say, if I drink too much Zamzam and I go make sa'i, I'm going to get the cramps. Charlie horse. That may be a bit too old for some brothers. Back in the day, say what? A Charlie horse. And you're playing sports. Your hamstring, your legs freeze up. You drink too much. Or one may say, if I drink too much, I'm going to have to use the bathroom. And it's going to be a very long time making sa'i, and the hotel is far, or the bathroom is extremely crowded, unclean, untidy, etc. So you're going to have to give some preference now. And this is fiqh fi din. It's recommended to drink a lot of Zamzam, but I also need to make the sa'i. I also have to be at the hotel. My wife is tired. My son, my brother, this one, that one. So keep that what? Keep that in mind with regards to your bladder. And with regards to your ability to hold yourself when you have to use the bathroom. You may become irritable. You may become upset. You may become uneasy if you have to use the bathroom a little bit. You may not be able to make the dua or do what you need to do. Everybody clear on this? Keep that what? Keep that in mind. The author, he then says, after a person makes those 2 rak'ah, he should drink the Zamzam water. Number 9, he says, is to go back to do, he says, listilam al-hajr al-aswad, to go back and touch the black stone once more. And that also is understood in the light of what? Ability. And we know sometimes it can become very challenging getting out of the loop of Tawaf. The people are moving. It becomes very challenging to find a hole. Sometimes you got to push through. So keep that what? Keep that in mind. Now, we don't want to go too deep, but the general concept of there are many recommended acts of Hajj, many recommended acts of Umrah, which are very, very challenging, very hard to do, if not sometimes impossible, because of the swollen crowd. There's so many people there. Okay, so that's an issue that needs to be looked into with regards to the number of people making Hajj every year. One's going to say that's a good thing. Let people come, alhamdulillah. From one aspect, it's good. It looks good. It sounds good. The numbers are impressive. But the actual Hajj being performed in a proper sunnah way, not rushing, not fighting, that's a different what? Different story. We as Muslims, we are to be focused on content. We are to be focused on quality instead of quantity, instead of package and form, but the actual insides. If we can have good quality and quantity, then alhamdulillah. If we can have content and form both, then of course, that's better. But we don't sacrifice one, the expense. Everybody understand this? We have to be mindful of this with regards to so many people coming. Then we also said the concept of all these people that come, 7 million, 8 million people, is impressive. It looks nice in the newspaper. Wow. All of the Muslims, Islam is strong. Alhamdulillah. How many people of these 8 million or 10 million people are making Hajj every single year? He's made Hajj 5, 6, 7 times. His brother brags 15 times, 20 times. Every time you're making Hajj, there's 1,000, 1,000,000 other people who are doing it the same thing like you. And that does what? What does that lead to? The people who make Hajj the first time, what? Not being, for them to do it in the proper sunnah way. That's something to be what? To be mindful of. To be what? To be mindful of. We don't want to go in too deep with regards to Hajj becoming a business, in which there's some brothers who make Hajj every single year. We don't know what's in the intentions of the people. We don't know what's in the people's hearts. That's not our job. We don't do that. But the concept is well-known fact with many of us. We make Hajj because it's occupation. It's an occupation. It's a major means of making money every year, leading a Hajj group. Everybody understand this? And not necessarily just the ibadah. Then we have the issue of women making Hajj over and over again. Is that the sunnah? We brought this up before. Is that permissible? Is that the sunnah for a woman to make Hajj 5 times? For a woman to make Hajj every single year? Because she's going to have to mix with men every year. Touch men, men touch her, expose her face, so on and so forth. Every what? Every year. And oftentimes you see the brothers, sometimes they become a bit overzealous, a bit extreme. They elbow someone, push someone. They walk Tawaf like this. They make a block like this wide. Don't come within 10 feet of my wife's rear end, period. And then one person becomes 10, 20, 30 brothers all doing the same thing. So we have a bunch of pockets now. Don't come near my wife. Get away from my wife. I don't want you walking behind my wife. I don't want you fondling my wife. Tell you. Why would you get that close to the Kaaba with your precious, tender wife? And it's 1 million men around. Fiqh fi din. Everybody understand this? Let alone the fact he said, yeah, this is my 6th time. Me and my wife made Hajj 5 times. You do the same thing every single time. And you have that much jealousy for your wife. Alhamdulillah. That's a good thing to have jealousy for your wife. Why do you keep putting yourself in the same what? Same situation. Everybody understands? These are problematic issues that you'll find and you'll see if you make Hajj. Are we making this up, Nafis? You find some people that fight, push, get into fist fights because of their wives. Okay? Let alone the efforts that have been taken for the people to make Tawaf, who want to walk slower, who have a woman, who have someone in a wheelchair, but they want to, I have to get right directly to the cloth of the Kaaba. So it doesn't work like that. If you are overzealous, if you're too weak or too strong, if you don't have the necessary patience and forbearance and tolerance, do not put yourself what? In harm's way. And this is fiqh fi din. You make Hajj and Umrah, you will see this what? So often, and that's unfortunate. Moving forward, the author he then says, الركن الثالث السعي. السعي هو المشي بين الصفا والمروة. هو المشي بين الصفا والمروة ذهابا وإيابا بنية التعبد وهو ركن في الحج والعمرة. شروط السعي هي النية لقول صلى الله عليه وسلم معلوم من النيات. ثانيا الترتيب بينه وبين الطواف بأن يقدم من الطواف على السعي. ثالث الموالاة بين أشواطه غير أن الفصل اليسير لا يضره ولا سيما إذا كان لحاجة. رابعا إكمال العدد 7 أشواط فلو نقص شوطا أو بعض الشوط لم يجزئ إذ حقيقته متوقفة على تمام أشواطه. خامسا وقوعه بعد طواف صحيح سواء كان الطواف واجبا أو مسنونا. The author, he says, the third pillar of Hajj and Umrah is as-sa'i. Is what? As-sa'i. That which is called sa'i. Faddal.
The third essential, the sa'i. The sa'i is walking back and forth between the mounts of As-Safa and Al-Marwa with the intention of worship. It is an essential component of both the Hajj and the Umrah. The conditions of the sa'i. The intention for the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Surely all actions are but driven by intention. Reported by Al-Bukhari. Number 2, it must be in the proper quadrantal order with respect to the circumambulation. That is, the circumambulation must be done first, followed by the sa'i. Number 3, each of its circuits must be done right after the other. However, a small break does not cause any harm, especially if there is some need for it. Number 4, one must complete 7 trips, 4 going and 3 returning, not a total of 7 going and coming. If one trip or part of one trip is missing, it will not be sufficient. Its correctness depends on all the trips being completed. Number 5, it must be performed in a correct and valid circumambulation, regardless of whether that's.
It must read again, please.
Number 5, it must be performed in a correct and valid circumambulation.
In a correct and valid? After.
It must be performed after a correct and valid circumambulation, regardless of whether that circumambulation of an obligatory or recommended nature.
طيب. It says here, the third pillar of Hajj is sa'i. It's something that's mandatory, and if you don't do it, you have no Umrah and you have no Hajj. You cannot forget about it. It's what? A necessary, essential component of Umrah and Hajj. And that's called as-sa'i. The word sa'i literally means to strive. It literally means to run, to hasten. It means to hustle. Everybody understand this? You say, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لشتى. نعم. طيب. لتجزى كل نفس بما تسعى. آيات كثيرة جدا. وأن سعيه سوف كثير. Allah speaks about sa'i in the Quran, meaning to strive. To do what? To strive. To fight, to run to something. Okay? So this is what the word sa'i literally means. Okay? As far as it being an essential part of Hajj, then sa'i is considered to be the twin sister of Tawaf. They go together. The twin sister of what? Of Tawaf. So therefore, he says sa'i is meshi. He says it's to walk between Safa and Marwa. To go back and forth. Starting at Safa, going to Marwa, back to Safa, back to Marwa. Point to point, point to point, point to point, point to point, point to point to point. Everybody understand this? He says this is what sa'i means in the deen, in the fiqh. Well, obviously with the intention of worship. And this is a pillar and an essential component of Hajj. Everybody clear on this? Sa'i is something that every Muslim has to know about. Every pilgrim must know about. You cannot rely upon your Hajj leaders to say, what's sa'i? After you finish the Tawaf, what's sa'i? Where do I start? Which mountain do I go to? That's something that is necessary for you to know by yourself. Everybody understand this? The signs in Arabic and English and Urdu and other languages, alhamdulillah, are there. And there's been a lot of money, time, and effort that has been spent in making the pilgrimage easier for the people and to correct their ibadah. Well, alhamdulillah, that's something that you cannot deny when you go make Hajj and Umrah. Everybody clear on this? So therefore, you have to know where to start, where to stop. How many times? How many times not to? What's obligatory in sa'i and what's recommended during what? The sa'i. Everybody clear on this? Sometimes the sa'i can be more crowded than the tawaf. Everybody understand this? Or maybe harder to walk on the small tiles on your feet, than the flat marble inside of or near the Kaaba. Everybody clear on this? Khairan, inshallah. He says here that sa'i has 7 conditions. 7 mandatory things that must be done in order for the sa'i to be correct, salih. And if not, then the sa'i is no good. Number 1 is a niyyah. And obviously that's the case with any act of ibadah. Any act of hajj, you have to do the what? The niyyah, the intention. Number 2, it says, is that it has to be tartib, meaning you can't do sa'i before tawaf. I was crowded in the masjid, so I'm going to do sa'i first and wait for the crowd to calm down inside. No, you have to do tawaf, the circumambulation, then the sa'i. After that, he says, al-muwala. It must be done continuously, consecutively. You make tawaf and you go right into what? Sa'i. You drink the Zamzam, 2 rak'ah in the Zamzam. You sit down for a quick second. You tighten up your clothes of ihram, your bag, your satchel, your knapsack. You pull out some tissue, something like this, labas. You fix it, and then you go right into the sa'i. Not you sit, you pull out a sandwich out of your bag. You wait 10 minutes, you drink tea. Okay, you wait, you relax. Or maybe today people are playing on their phones. I remember the time in the Prophet's masjid, it was very difficult to have your phone in the masjid. They would search for bags. It was search for bags in Medina. Mecca, I don't know, but in Medina, it was search bags. Okay, you had to try to smuggle your phone into the masjid if it had a camera on it. Okay, and you couldn't just take a picture or a video or a selfie. It wasn't that simple how it is now. It was very, very different in the beginning of the smartphone era. Everybody understand this? So people today, only Allah knows what they can do now. You might have 4G, LTE, or whatever right there in the Kaaba. You post it on Facebook, or you tweet or Instagram, or whatever the case may be, and sit and chat with your friends. Then I'll go make what? Sa'i. He says it has to be done what? Right after it. Everybody clear on this? Unless there is an immediate necessity. Unless there's an immediate what? Necessity. He says, let me catch my breath, Mufti. Safra says, I'm right here, Sheikh. You got it. 2 minutes. That's it. 60 seconds, and then we're what? Everybody clear on this? Khairan, inshallah. 60 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever. However much time you need. Tayyib. He says, number 4 is that you have to do sa'i 7 times. Starting with Safa and then with what? Marwa. So he says, this is Safa here. You're going to come from the Kaaba here, go there. The author is going to get into what's recommended. But let's say you don't want to do what's recommended, and you just want to get it over with. You're going to start from Safa and go to what? Marwa. Is that 1 time or half of once? That's once. Okay, going back to Safa is what? Back to Marwa, back to Safa, back to Marwa, back to Safa, back to Marwa. 7 times. So you have to go back to Marwa, right? You have to do a complete loop. You guys sure about this? Tayyib. Al-Muhim. So you should end your sa'i where? Marwa. And not end your sa'i at what? Safa. Are we clear this? Now, if you haven't been there, don't think that you're going to come and just walk and climb. You're just going to tread upon this mountaintop. It's not like that. The actual raw rock is going to be behind glass doors. And most of it is going to be covered up by tile. Everybody understand this? But it's clearly you're going to see the what? Incline it. You're on the mount. That's the mount. Everybody understand this? Tayyib. So you're going to end your sa'i where? Marwa, and not at Safa. If you ended at Safa, you know you did something wrong. You did 1 too many or 1 too less. Khairan, inshallah. Moving forward. The 5th condition, he says, is the sa'i has to come after a correct tawaf. Meaning, your tawaf had to be done correctly. Let's say a person made sa'i and then he realized that he was missing one of the conditions of tawaf. He said that the sa'i is now what? Invalid as well. And it has to come after a tawaf that was done what? Properly. How do you know the tawaf is done properly except for what we previously explained? Everybody understand this? Not the recommended acts, but the essential acts. Khairan, inshallah. So it has to come after a correct tawaf, whether the tawaf is mandatory or recommended. As long as the tawaf is what? Correct. Khairan, inshallah. So these are 5 essentials of what? Of sa'i. If you do not fulfill them, the author says you have no sa'i. The other things that he did not mention are not essential. Making a dua, running between the two green lights. He did not what? He didn't mention that. Everybody understand this? He did not mention any of these. He didn't mention wudu, tahara. He didn't mention what? He didn't mention tahara. He didn't mention covering the awrah. He did not mention what? Covering the awrah. He never did not mention that. But he mentioned that in what? Tawaf, clearly. Khairan inshallah. Moving forward, the author then says, Sunan al-Sa'i. Sunan al-Sa'i, al-Khabab, وهو سرعة المشي بين الميلين الأخضرين الموضوعين على حافة الوادي القديم الذي خبت فيه هاجر إسماعيل عليهم السلام، وسنة للرجال القادرين دون الضعفة والنساء. ثانيا الموقوف على الصفا والمروة للدعاء فوقهما. ثالثا الدعاء على كل من الصفا والمروة كل شوط من الأشواط السبعة. رابعا قول الله أكبر. ثلاثا أن الرقي على كل من الصفا والمروة في كل شوط كذا قول لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده هزم الأحزاب وحده. خامسا الموالاة بينه وبين الطواف بحيث لا يفصل بينهما بدون عذر شرعي. 5 recommended acts of sa'i. 5 things that are recommended. Number 1, he says,
jogging between the two green markers. These marker places 300. The mother Ismail, pace back and forth.
Read it again, please, carefully, loudly, correctly.
Jogging between the two green markers. These mark the places between which Hajar, the mother of Ismail, pace back and forth. This is recommended for men who have the ability to do so and not for those who are weak or for the women. Number 2. One should stop or on top of As-Safa and Al-Marwa to supplicate. Number 3, one should make supplications during each of the trips between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. Number 4, one should say Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest 3 times upon descending both As-Safa and Al-Marwa. Each time one reaches them, one should say there is none worthy worship except Allah, the one for whom there is no partner, to whom belongs the dominion, to whom is the praise, and he is power of all things. He has fulfilled his promise, supported his servant, and vanquished the parties by himself. Number 5, the sa'i must be performed immediately after the circumambulation, such that there is no break between them without a valid reason.
طيب, things that you should do when making sa'i. If it's too crowded, you're too tired, you're sick, you don't have the ability, you have to look after your sick uncle, your old aunt, don't worry about them. But if you do have the ability and the time, if you can push yourself a little more, give yourself or exert a bit more effort, then you should definitely what? Do it. And be in that for your hajj to be mabrur. Khairan inshallah. The first is al-khabab. He says is to run. Sur'atul mashi. Is to move, to dash briskly. A little bit of running, not full speed like track, okay, but to run a bit in a specific place. And that is where you see the 2 green light fixtures. It's going to be long fluorescent bulbs, green. When you get to that green marker, he says that it's recommended for men who have the strength and the ability not to harm someone, not to harm yourself. Some brothers, they run full speed and they may truck people out of the way, knock people over. And they think it's fun, it's cool. I beat you. I raced. Wallahi. This is reality. Abu Bakr says, today Mufti, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to beat you inside. I'm going to show you how slow you are. And they may run into somebody, bump into a woman, or they may have a problem slowing down. Or they may injure themselves when they try to slow down. You're not wearing shoes, no Nikes, no cross trainers you got on. It's hard towel with your barefoot. You may twist your ankle, sprain your ankle, hurt your knee. Seen brother get injured before with his knee. Slip on Zamzam water, he messed his knee up. Everybody understand this? So just be mindful of this. But if you do have the ability to run, and there's nobody in the way, and you don't have to worry about, hurting your brother's feelings, his feelings if you have to burn them, then that's the sunnah. That's the what? That's the sunnah, Yeah, sometimes it is. You got to compete to do good deeds. Sometimes. طيب. Moving forward, he says here, this is the place in which our mother, the mother of Ismail, Hajar, ran back and forth, in which she became frustrated. She didn't have a solution what to do. Her and her infant child are in the middle of the wasteland with no water, nothing. And she ran back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, we all know the story of Ismail, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the story of Zamzam, the story of him taking his wife or taking his family out to the desert. Now, by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, just like the tawaf, the sa'i is considered to be symbolic. It's considered to be what? Symbolic. Everybody understand this? And manifesting the sacrifices and the struggles of our forefather Ibrahim, Ismail, and Hajar. That's the purpose of doing that. So he says this is recommended for men who are qadireen, not men who are weak, slow as well, men that can't run. He says, nor women. Women should not run. Is this correct? What do the other ulama say? The author says women shouldn't what? They should not run. Khairan inshallah ta'ala. Why shouldn't a woman run? A woman may fall. So you're saying women are weak and men are strong? Is that what you're saying? No doubt. Tayyib. It's time for the adhan now. Tayyib. Why shouldn't women run? They have a long gown. Men don't have on long gowns? Men are less clumsy. Women are clumsy. This is all on record, guys. Women are weak and what? Clumsy. I didn't say it. What other reason? A chance of a woman's aura being exposed. Or being clumsy and weak.
No, not necessarily. I mean, some women are stronger than men.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. But any other reason why women shouldn't run? Why not? That's what we're trying to get into. Why did he say only men?
Because it was one of the narrations that we heard that it was
Tawaf or sa'i and tabi. And that's tawaf. Ramal is only in what? Tawaf. That's different.
the way the brother who explained it one time we made hard.
Allah about the brother.
He said to press your shoulder to show the
That's tawaf, not sa'i. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You gotta ask the brother. You gotta ask the brother. Follow the salaf. So none of the salaf run? None of the women from the salaf ran? Intabi li nafsik. No, you're wrong in this issue. If it's sunnah to run, then it's for what? Until proven, not you have to bring. The burden of proof is upon the what? The claimant. It's upon the what? The claimant. Tell you. What else? Why shouldn't a woman run? Why would the author say this, that women shouldn't run? So far we have women are weak, clumsy. They wear long gowns. What else?
Yeah, she got more jiggly parts.
Right. It may be a part of her body that, what's going to happen if she's covered? What's the problem?
I mean, some women.
She may be exposed. Okay. So what if she's covered all the way? It's a fitna. Right. Perhaps. Okay. What's the ruling on free mixing? Why not? Why not make a sister side there? Everyone understand? Once you start mixing and matching pieces, you end up with a what? An incomplete set. You have to be mindful. Tayyib? Khairan inshallah. Tayyib. Moving forward. Number 2, he says, it's to stand at Safa and Marwa with the intention of making what? Dua. He says it's the intention of making what? Dua. What dua should you make here? The author doesn't specify. Number 3 is, now listen carefully. He says here, Al-wuquf ala safa wal marwa lid-du'ai fawqahuma. And then he says that dua ala kulli min as-safa wal marwa fi kulli shawt min ashwat as-sab'ah. Number 2 and number 3 is to stand upon Safa and Marwa to make dua upon them. Number 3 is to make dua upon each mountain, Safa and Marwa, at the end of each circuit. What's the difference between number 2 and number 3?
Yeah, the one is making on top of the hill.
Okay.
And the other is in between, I guess.
La, he clearly says ala kullin. Ala kullin. Not the English text. The Arabic says ala kullin. And then the number 2 he says fawq. Fawq and ala are what? And here synonymous. Tayyib. Number 4, he says for a person to say at the end of each circuit, Allahu Akbar 3 times upon ascending Safa and Marwa. And then saying the following supplication, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Affirming Allah's tawheed. Lahul mulk, lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And then to say La ilaha illallah wahdah, alone without any partner. Sadaqa wa'dah, he has kept his promise true. Wa nasara abdah, and he has given victory to his servant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa hazam al-ahzaba wahda, and he alone did away with the ahzab, the mushrikun, the people of kufr. He wiped them out of Mecca. Tayyib. Number 5, the author says the recommended act of sa'i, he says al-muwalatu baynahu wa bayna at-tawaf bihaythu la yafsilu baynahuma biduni udhrin shar'i. He says here is that a recommended act is the sa'i be done right after what? Tawaf. Not mandatory, but it says what? Recommended. Interesting. Unless you have a legitimate excuse. Khairan, inshallah. The next section of the book, the author says, Al-Rukn al-Rabi' al-Wuqufu bi-Arafah. The 4th and final pillar of Hajj is to stand at Arafah, which we will explain by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission in our next class. Indeed, He surely knows best. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.